Welcome to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous State of the Game with Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. This is the show where I talk about my thoughts about the progress of the game and my show week to week. This week I'm going to touch on two topics, and the two topics are going to be my show, what's going on with it, and how I'm starting to grow it. And the second topic is going to be about having to play Star Citizen as a multiplayer game. How much better it is, how much more fun it is. And in this video that you're seeing while I'm talking today is just an example of that. This is a co-op Vandal Swarm with my organization mates. They were wonderful and we got together on Sunday night. And because of this, I'm thinking about hosting a weekly get-together with my viewers. And I think that's something I'd like to start pretty quickly and live stream on Twitch. So if you're interested in that, please just give me some comments below, and if you know how to get this done, like a way I can schedule it, I would love for you to comment below also. Alright, so let's get back into the first piece of this, and it's going to be about my show. A couple of changes here. The first change is I discovered something called Show on the YouTube channel, and it was listed under my videos. And I never saw it there before, and I don't think it's been there before, but it actually has given me an opportunity to segregate, to differentiate, I guess, my channel. Right now on my feed, I put all sorts of different things, mostly Star Citizen, but also Elite Dangerous, and World of Tanks, War Thunder, and of course there'll be some other things in there from time to time. But most of y'all are here for one reason and one reason only, and that's because of my, well, I guess it's better than average coverage of the Star Citizen game and its development and the people that work for Cloud Imperium Games. So what I did is I set up that feature called Show, and it now has its own page on YouTube where all my Star Citizen content will go from now on. Currently, it's separated into different seasons, Season 1, 2, and 3. The shows I did in 2013, 2014, and 2015. I'm going to have to play with that a little bit, but what you could expect to see up there are going to be things like Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous's weekly news show, this State of the Game, my videos, and of course, any of the fan fiction content or in-game reviews of ships that I can do. And I hope that makes it easier for those of you that are looking to get just the Star Citizen content. And you'll be able to subscribe to that separately, and it will still be the same subscription as the ones that go back to my regular page. But by subscribing to that, you could opt out of all the other content I have. The one thing I do want you to just think about when you do that is there's some pretty good games out there, and I do cover them also. And from time to time, I might stumble upon one that's really good, like the Beautiful Age of Sail that I was playing for a while and still am playing. You never know. So I do ask you that before you do opt out of subscribing to one and subscribe only to the other, which is the same subscription, just filtering it out, do think about that. Alright, so we've had a couple of design documents. We've had the mining design document, shield design document, and well, I can't even remember the other one because it was so long ago. Well, let's think about mining, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. And I'm not going to talk about mining. I'm going to talk about how mining relies on multiple people to do it. It does not mean that you won't be efficient mining by yourself with NPC characters or characters that you have as character slots from the multiple packages that you might have purchased. What it does mean is that real live human beings playing together are going to be much more adept, much more capable, much more efficient at doing mining than doing it by yourself. And then I talked to Ben during a Five for Ben Lesnick last week, and we were talking about how many other ships could there be could be refuelers. And of course we know that right now we have the Starfarer, but there are some others too, right? And he pointed out that there are many upgrades to different ships that are coming. You might be able to put an upgrade or inside the modular bay of a Retaliator. You might be able to configure an Avenger for refueling. Fill it up with fuel and, have some fuel pods on it and then go out and refuel. But refueling's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, and in some respects may take multiple people. Refueling a fighter might be rather easy, but refueling something like an Idris might take multiple people having to pull hoses over to the other ship to connect them. He said think about how ships are refueled in the Navy, and also think about how hard it is to refuel an aircraft in real life, both in the flying boom and the drogue and probe ways that they're done currently in the different militaries around the world. So this game, where it can be played single player, and we will have single player elements of it, like the Squadron 42 campaign missions, but this game really is coming to light as a true 100% multiplayer game, where everything that we do is going to require help from somebody, whether it be a real live human being or an NPC. Alright, so how do I feel about this? Well, I'm actually pretty freaking excited about it. I love to play with my friends, and Arena Commander for the longest time it's left me wanting more. It's left me not feeling like that I was part of a group when I was out there. Well, that was until I played with the Enablers this past weekend inside of the co-op Vanduul Swarm. I just want more out of the game, and knowing that things like mining and the the coming design document on exploration are going to show that we need multiple people inside of the game to be able to do these things efficiently. I'm thinking that this is going to set this game apart in many ways from the other game that I play, Elite Dangerous. Well, in many ways from other multiplayer games also, where the multiplayer pieces of the game are strictly combat. Get together with your friends and go out and kill things. And the closest that you can get to something like this might be an Eve, but you're all still in different ships. So I'm pretty psyched about where we're going. So coming up in 2.0, which is going to be, it's going to be many months down the road, right? Because we're still waiting for 1.1 to come out later this month. But coming up in 2.0, we're going to have the different stations in the multiplayer ships set up. First with the two-seater versions of the fighters that we have, like the Hornet, and then into the Freelancer and Cutlass, and then up into the larger multiplayer ships, like start off with the Constellation and then the Retaliator and go up from there. And these stations are going to have things that you're going to be able to assign to them, whether they be damage control or weapon systems, radar systems, electronic countermeasures, whichever it might be. Scanners that are looking for jump holes are not going to be in the game until later on when we're testing the persistent universe, but that's something else that will be there. And that means that you don't have to be a great fighter pilot in this game. It opens up a game like this to a wider variety of people. You already see that happening with FPS coming to the game very soon. But now that means that somebody that wants to be a club owner or just a bar hopper can also be a crew on a ship and man a turret or a station where the mini game inside of there is actually you looking for jump holes or doing some kind of repairs on the ship. It really opens up this to be the virtual universe that Chris Roberts envisioned. These design documents go a lot further than the surface because they're just telling us about things that are there, that are going to need to be done. They're not going as deep as telling us how they're going to get done. And that's something that is going to be changing little by little over the next 12 months. Yeah, I just said that, 12 months. I know that we have a game coming out this year, and that game, of course, is Squadron 42, and there'll be a launch party, and it'll be fun, and we'll play through it, and we'll play through it, and we'll play through it, just like we did Wing Commander and Privateer and all the other games that Chris Roberts gave us. But then when the persistent universe is coming at us, it's going to be something different. It's going to be coming home, setting aside your 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of playtime for the day, and walking into this virtual world, walking into this universe, and taking on whatever role you decide to play. I know people whose main role, they just want to be able to move cargo from A to B. Well, that's great, and that means that they might need somebody like Onion over here in this game, who's tearing up the Vandul. Of course, you're watching me, not Onion, but he was tearing them up, and he might need to be hired to provide cap for a he might need to provide cap for something like a mining operation, or fly cover for a exploration vessel, or even better, escort a well-needed medical supplies into a war zone, into a hot zone. And these are all things that are going to be able to be done. Now, I do have my fears, so I could talk about my excitement. Now I need to talk about my concerns. My concerns are, you really need to rely on a large player base for something like this, and we do have a large enough player base at this point. The player base is over 700,000 strong. That's a lot of people. 700,000 people have pledged at least something to this game. They've bought a ship. And that's a pretty impressive number, taking into consideration that the game is going to be far off. But is 700,000 people worldwide playing at different times, being in different instances, something that we can rely on getting the immersion that we're going to want in the game? I think yes. But then I look at something like World of Tanks, or let's take War Thunder, which isn't the best game in the world. It's just a player versus player game with a lot of people playing around the world. They recently had to change their realistic battles. Now remember, this is realistic, so it doesn't appeal to as many people as something that's more arcade and easier to get into. And what they needed to do is they needed to make realistic battles have people of the same nation on the same team. And that was something that they weren't doing before. That was to cut down the queues and also to better balance the game for people. Well, that to me is a concern because they have quite a few more people playing that game than we do. But they do have 5 or 6 nations of aircraft, so that might be something that cuts down on that. So why am I saying this? Well, recently it was said by somebody that they think like 80% of the people, I think it was on Joe Marino's show, Geekdomo Starcast, that 80% of the people aren't really interested in the full-fledged combat of the game. They're interested in things like hauling cargo, mining, refueling, owning economy producing items like a shop or some kind of factory on a world. I find that pretty intriguing. So that means that only 20% want to do combat. Well, that's not bad, right? Because that means that somewhere around 14,000 people, I think it is, want to, or let's see, that would be 10% would be 70,000. So that would be 140,000 people would be flying somewhere in the world ready to do combat. Alright, so maybe my concerns are unfounded, but they're still concerns. I just want this game to succeed because it's starting to stack up pretty well against other games that are actually complete and cost $59 right now. And like I said, I'm very excited for the pieces that are here. So now I'm going to get back into the multiplayer piece. Alright, and I put this in at the beginning. I had such a amazing time with my organization, the Enablers, on Sunday night, and it was just for this one match. We didn't play more than this. I sat and mumbled while they were playing one match, and then they brought me in for the next one, and it was a great time. So what I want to do is I want to set up a day. Now I have Monday and Tuesdays off, and I get home by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day from work. So I'd like to set up a day, whether it be Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or Monday or Tuesday in the middle of the day for the European people, my middle of the day, which would be close to your evening time. I'd like to set up a day that I can join some of my viewers in doing things like this, whether it be racing, cooperative vamp, dual swarm, or just setting up a game where we can have capture the core against each other. I think that this will be fun, and it'll be a way for us to start getting into this mentality that, you know, this is a multiplayer game, and let's have fun with it. Even though this is just a game within a game, let's have at it. Let's start doing this together, and that's something that I really want to do. So the two subjects, my show, I've given you a place that you can go and find and again, I'm going to make sure that these two pieces, when I'm talking about it, have the link at the bottom, and I'll put the link in the show notes. But if you just want the Star Citizen content, you'll be able to go there and just subscribe to that only. And, well, I guess there's something else I should mention. I'm also reaching out to other people at Cloud Imperium Games. This Wednesday I should have David Haddock on, and we're just going to do a 5 for David Haddock like we do a 5 for Ben. It will not replace the 5 for Ben this week. It will be a second show. That one will not be done every week, but from time to time, if you all want some questions that are lore-based to be answered, you throw them to me, and I'll go to David, and we'll get them answered with him. Alright, so I guess I don't want to go on too many more tangents. Make sure you go out to the channel and watch my interview with Sandy Gardner. Make sure you leave questions for Ben each week in the 5 for Ben Lesnick episodes. And please be sure to tell me what you think of Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous and how it's coming along. I've been changing up the show. I've been trying to make things better. I've been trying to put in more content and less opinion at times. And when I do opinion, I try to put it here. That way, if you want to just listen to opinion, you can. Or if you want to listen to both, you can. And that is what I'm trying to do. Trying to be more open to what you guys all want for a channel that covers our favorite space title at this point. Alright, so I also want to talk about something else, and that's we're about 9 subscribers away from 2,250. I had mentioned that when that hits, I will be starting a contest. I now have a contest editor as well as a research editor, and I will be talking to our contest editor and giving him direction as to what we'll be doing. And we will be using the new starcitizenaa@gmail.com, I believe, for that contest. Unless I can actively get my contest editor access to the starcitizenaa.com email. We'll see how that works. But look forward to that. Ben has promised a Mustang Delta, which some of you may not have been able to get. It is, well, let's just say this. My Hornet is my favorite ship for doing this, but my favorite ship overall right now is that Mustang Delta. So you might want to take a look at it, you might not, but that will be given away at 2,250. And then again, we'll have another giveaway at 2,500. Alright guys, I am out of here, and in more ways than one. Actually, this game goes on to a full 18 rounds. We just don't get through that last one. I guess that was my first ship that I lost over there at round 13. This I'm gonna just say it again as I go out. I had a trip. This was wonderful. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.